have a pointer. It works. Vocational training team. It's a group of professionals who travel to a developing country to teach local professionals or others about a skill within the 6 areas of focus. It's actually just kind of a variation of a global grant, or maybe combined with a global grant. So what we do with VTT is try to build capacity in a sustainable way with a reliable host club. So the requirements for a global grant apply to the requirements for a vocational training team. Trains people to solve problems and improve quality of life. Example, for maternal health and care, medical team trained midwives to reduce infant mortality. Another multidisciplinary team trained villagers to manage and maintain a sanitation system. As you can see, if you have a water project, you actually can combine a vocational training team with a water project to train the people to care for it. Tangible projects are not within VTT, but might make a good partner project, and that's what we're talking about, combining global grant type projects with training. The VTT project may stand alone, not combined with a global project. One of the others here with more experience and longevity might be able to tell me when that was done. A medical team to train local health professionals, and that would be a standalone project. Could be a standalone project, although my project to Bolivia was not standalone, and it was a medical dental team actually to train people. So as I said, it can be paired with another global grant project. It's funded by the club, district, and Rotary funds, very similar to the way the global grants are funded. The minimums are the same. There's a special couple of little details that'll be of interest to you. Project must be within the area of focus, just like any global grant. It must be capacity building and sustainable. There has to be a minimum of 1 Rotarian team leader and 2 Rotarian or non-Rotarian team members. That low requirement is how I got to Bolivia. Team leader must be a district club member and preferably all team members. Well, I wouldn't say it was only that requirement, because that requirement included 2. So how many dentists do you find that are Rotarians in District 5020 who have the skills linked to the grant of being a dentist, going to Bolivia and having international travel, which was one of the things they wanted, and had the time to go there for a couple of weeks? So I don't know if I was the only one. Must meet the requirements for a vocational training team project, and as you see, as I mentioned, the funding, I'm not going to go over this in detail, but it ends up, it's the same as a global grant. So you end up, the minimum budget is $35,000. So the club can contribute 15, match 15, and then 1.5 times more, so it ends up being 3.5 times, right? Just like the last slide. Any questions on that? I mean, the last time we heard this one. Okay, moving on. Maybe. Does that funding include airfare and that kind of thing? Very interesting. There is an exception here for vocational training teams. Not like global grants. In order to send the team, you can provide transportation and food and lodging. Okay? That's the way I understand it, right? Okay. Can be funded just by a district community grant, which, of course, as you already know, simplifies the project considerably, but limits the amount of money. Okay? So, again, steps: locate a reliable host club, focus on needs that the community itself is interested, and select a well-qualified team. The host club, this is where you will want to put in your MOU. You need a reliable contact person, a clear understanding of the scope and goals, a clear understanding of funding arrangements. In other words, they ought to know they're not getting the money exactly, the beneficiary may not be getting the money, and a detailed team itinerary. From my project, this was a really important issue. Working with an NGO, that can provide expertise and local resources. The Rotary must receive fair credit for the projects. All funds must flow through the Rotary clubs, and there must be, as usual, no conflict of interest. I think without help from NGOs, many of our projects would have a great deal more difficulty. So they are important partners in some of these projects, and certainly were a key partner in my project to Bolivia. It wasn't actually my project, I was just on it. Yes? No, I haven't talked about that. No. It's kind of not my part of it, the needs assessment. I'm just talking about the BTT. I could just tell you off the top of my head how they were done from my experience, just with the BTT project and a current community grant project that I'm involved in. And basically in both cases, the needs assessment came through NGOs who were working directly with the people in that community, and we were able either to confirm that they had done this before and the community was responsive to it. Well, actually in both cases, we were able to confirm that they had done something similar before and the community was responsive to what they had done. That's how we did it. I'm sure there are other ways and maybe even better ways to do it. Okay, there's information on the website, a lot of information on the website about a lot of things. There you go. Go to Rotary.org, open My Rotary, take action at the top of the page. You just pretty much, have to do this to get a feel for how it goes. And you can always call somebody and say, here I am at My Rotary, where's the take action button? Or, stuff like that. You can call lots of people on that. Me, if you have my number, but you won't. But you can. But maybe next year you will. I'll get a slide in there with my name on it. Global grants we'll get from the drop-down menu, and then you can go to activities, and that's where you get there. And then once you're into a grant, then you can select your grant, and then that shows up on the button, and if you're qualified, you can punch into your grant and see what's going on there. Does that, anybody else with experience have anything to add to that? Yes? No? Okay. I know that really basically you just have to push the buttons and see what happens, and you'll get there. Identify a reliable host district. That's it. So first step was assess the needs. Second step, get a reliable host. And yeah, you'll see if, am I going to be presenting that little bit of that Bolivia trip?
I think they'd be interested to hear about it. Sure.
Okay. Oh, okay then. Then I won't do. I'll do some of that later in that thing. Okay. Identify. Third step is identify actually what the project is, how it's going to take shape, and what you expect the outcome to be. Then identify a team leader, which again I pointed out. That's how I got to go to Bolivia. They identified it the only person qualified in District 5020 and available. So then you develop a budget, and you do that in conjunction with the NGO you're working with, the host partner, and your own research, which is basically with the community grant. That's what ended up with my community grant. I did all the research for it. And develop a detailed itinerary. The district VTT role is to support the club projects, give advice and counsel, which apparently is me since I've done one now, get project approval and provide matching funds. And of course, that's an important part, and that's not as hard as you might think. It's just getting everything together, sending it out. Bottom line, a successful VTT project increases the capacity of the host community to solve problems and improve its quality of life over the long term. Ta-da. Oh, you have my contact information. Ta-da. Thank you. Thank you. At least my email. So you can email me there, and if you want to talk to me, I'll actually send you my telephone number. So whichever one you want. Any questions? Yes.
On the Rotarian participation.
Yes.
That requires a Rotarian from the international.
No, from the district.
From the district.
Yes.
Be from the host.
No. Yes.
Is there often a reciprocal team coming the other way?
No.
Because I know one that happened once to the Philippines.
Not a necessary requirement. No.
Not necessary.
It's not an exchange program. You guys, with experience, correct me if I ever say anything wrong. Go ahead. Anything else? Any other? Yes.
Just another clarification on the VTT members from District 5020. Only one needs to be from 5020?
Only one needs to be. It would be nice to have more, but.
Nice to have all, but one is okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michael, does Rotary International have a listing of host Rotary clubs around the world that are looking for VTTs to come to visit?
There is a list of host Rotary clubs. I've seen it. So you can get that. As to whether they're approved for VTT, I think that's an individual application, right? Yeah. So no, you get approval later. Anything else? Oh, okay.
We'll have to load your Bolivian pictures.
Yes.
So how about we'll do it at the end of the
Yes.
session?
And
Because we're really scared
Bobby's ready to load it.
anything up.
yeah,
We don't
okay.
want to mess anything
Bobby's
up.
ready. She's ready.
We'll finish this grant portion, and then at the break,
You don't need my name tag.
because we have learned that we are technologically challenged, and we are a great stressor for Bobby Ann. So thank you. Thank you. Why did that go off? Okay, so while she's fixing that, and we didn't even need to do anything, see how touchy it is, I just want to make 2 points. First off, as far as the scholarships are concerned, we are very active in having a scholar every year. And most often, when we select an ambassadorial scholar, that person is of the quality that we decide to put them forth for a global scholar. So that happens more often than not. So that's one point. Bobby Ann, this is for you. Our current, this year's ambassadorial scholar that will be going to London next year is a road director. Okay? So that's a good thing. And for a district, for us, this will be our 3rd Peace Scholar submission. 2 are successful. We don't know. We can't say this one will be. He's a prime candidate. That's not out of our hands, but we're putting him forth. So we have to be pretty darn proud. Every year, our district, out of DDF, out of the community grants DDF, we isolate $15,000 for the ambassadorial scholar program because we think it is so important. Okay. Out of our World Fund DDF, on the other side of the page, we isolate $25,000 a year to support the Peace Scholar program. We are one of the original Peace districts, which is a huge source of pride for this district. So we not only generate a lot of interest in our communities regarding the scholarship programs, we also, the district, we put our money where our mouth is, and we also support those programs. So that's one thing. As far as VTT, we have had a standalone. It was our first VTT to the Philippines when Bob Martin was governor. He had I think it was a science teachers training program. So we sent a team over to the Philippines, and they went into the schools and trained, and then they brought the teachers back here and furthered their training. to the States. It was stateside Philippines. So that was our one. And then we've been having a great deal of difficulty generating interest in VTT because Rotarians didn't understand it. And I personally have a hard time with that because when we are preparing a global grant, we all know sustainability means training. Why aren't we building in a VTT component to our larger global grants, right? It just makes sense, doesn't it? It just makes sense to send the money, send the expertise, then you know for sure the training is done according to how it's outlined. So that's food for thought for you. Okay? Are we operational? Let's see. 10 ways to improve your global grant application. This young woman is, she is so valuable to us. We owe her a great debt of gratitude. So there's the global grant process, as I indicated before, is not rocket science. You know, it just takes doing your homework. And there's ways that you can be more successful, right? For one, we know already it's long-term, sustainable, and it has to align within the area of focus. It has to have an international partnership, and it's a World Fund match. That part we know, okay? And we know it has to fit into the areas of focus. We all know what those are. We've been working within the areas of focus for a few years now, okay? But the application is what scares a lot of people, okay? So it's easy. You go online and you follow the directions. There's no application deadline. You can do it at any time. Not like our DTA, our community grants does have a deadline because it has to be started and finished in one Rotary year. This does not. The only time that there's any kind of a deadline is if your grant is going to involve travel. And then it has to be within 90 days prior to that travel so that they're able to review it, approve it, and then make travel arrangements. Okay? And this is where you go, right? You go to the Rotary Grant Center. Rotary, www.rotary.org, right? Click on My Rotary, click on Take Action, move over, go to Global Grants, and bingo, you're there. Okay? But you have to do a needs assessment. You have to conduct a thorough assessment of the community needs and strengths. You have to talk to the community members directly, right? The chiefs, the elders, the doctors, the whomever is prominent within that community. And you have to start with a needs assessment rather than a project plan. In fact, as of July 1 this year, all humanitarian and vocational global grants must have a community assessment component. It's not a nice to have anymore, it's a must have. And that just came out within this past week from RI. Okay, we all know the areas of focus. You know that there's a policy statement online. In fact, when you go into the global grants portion, on your right-hand side, all of your documentation is there. You can download it. Everything is there. Right? You have to have a detailed project plan. Who's going to do what by what time? And you have to involve the beneficiaries. Right? You draw this plan together with your hosts. Right? Rotarian involvement, detailed list of tasks for both hosts and international. Okay, your budget, detailed budget with the vendor information, and explain how your vendors were selected. That's pretty important. Okay, it has to be sustainable, and you clearly explain the specific sustainability components, and there's a special form, right? So you can fill that in. It's blurry, I know, it's not good. It's because we take a screenshot and try and make it bigger and it doesn't work very well. Okay, the budget, you have to have a detail. Did I go backwards? Oh dear, okay, I thought I did. Okay, training information, detailed information for each training opportunity. How many times, what is the curricula? What's the target audience, right? Children, adults, community, total community members. And who's going to do the training? This is ideal for a VTT, right here. Ideal. But it doesn't have to be. If your grant is of lesser size as far as money is concerned, it doesn't have to be a VTT. But you do have to be specific about what you're going to teach, how you're going to teach it, and when are you going to do it. And again, this is going to be online, Dennis, so you don't have to worry. You'll probably have it much clearer than this. Okay? You have to identify your cooperating organizations, and then there is an MOU for each cooperating organization, and you make it tailor it to your specific grant application. So you make sure you're very clear on who's going to do what, when, how, who's responsible for what. That's so important. In our issue brought up by Bill McCarthy, there is a component in the MOU with the host partner stating that the host district could pick up, right? So they bear some responsibility. We need to have that very, very clear. Okay? And then how are you going to measure and evaluate your project? Because once it's completed, you have to see, did we do what we say we were going to do? Did it provide the benefit that we said or we thought was going to provide? And then complete the entire application. You don't know how many applications sit there with nothing done. And again, at the 12-month time, if nothing's been done in 12 months, RI cancels it. And please, we've had a situation where one person was trained in a club. The club, okay, that person entered a grant application. There was quite a bit of information, but it didn't go completely the way this person wanted it to go. So we had it on hold, but then the next time I checked the application, they changed the grant writer. They erased all the body, put in a different grant writer that wasn't qualified, and it just sat there. And then RI notified them it's going to be canceled. You can't do that. You know, there's a number of reasons why you think that you need to do something, but the bottom line is the grant writer has to be a qualified person or a member of a committee that's qualified. And when you fill in a grant, you need to complete that grant and let us help you. We'll help you move it along, get it on its way, and make sure that you're successful. But if you start grants and then don't complete them, it ties you up. And if you get 4 of them, nobody else in your club can write a grant either. So just little things that can go wrong. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Resources. Again, Michael said there's lots and lots and lots of resources for you. Takes lots of, and they're easy to find, right? And it could be frustrating, but personally I have to print it off and I highlight what's important, stick it up on my bulletin board, and then I don't have to go back to this all the time. But I have to tell you that the Learning Center gives a lot of information. Rotary Support Center, they are fabulous. They will help you out. And if you're really having issues, and let's say you're having issues with the areas of focus, the specific wording, things aren't working for you, you can call the grant staff and they will spend a lot of time with you. They're there to help you. They want you to succeed. They want to make sure that those grants are completed. Oh, busted! You're busted! Okay. Okay, so here's your first step. This is what you do. Okay, go to the website. All right? Go to the website, and you all should have a password. I'm sure you do. If you have club website, go to My Rotary, click that on, and put in your password. Right? Now you're in My Rotary. Go to Take Action right there.
This is the district.
Nope. Nope. This is My Rotary. Rotary.org. www.rotary.org. This is for global grants. You don't go to, you can't do anything for global grants on our 5020 website. That's just for community grants. 5020 is community grants. This is global. This is RI. Okay? So you go to Take Action, right? And then you go to your grant application tool. See? Apply for grants. Right? And then you just follow the process. It starts with a nice friendly welcome page. Welcome tells you a little bit about what the global grants are, activities funded, how they're accepted, pages outline components, and if you have questions, either go to the grant management module or contact us. Yes? Rand?
There used to be a facility that Bill did a couple of years ago where you could put in like a dummy grant for practice.
No, we don't do that anymore. No.
They don't do that.
No, we don't. And you know why? Because once it's in, you can't get rid of it. So you're going to have a lot of dummy grants in there. Yeah. Yeah. No, we don't do that anymore. And there's lots of help. Like you can always go in and edit. And if you make a mistake and you lock something, you as a grant writer can unlock it, and I can always unlock it. So if something has changed, circumstances have changed, and that happens, right? Sometimes your funding falls through, or you get a windfall, so it increases, right? And more often it's falling through. But but I can edit it. If you need to change it, and because your circumstances change and you need to change it, just call me. I can unlock it, and then you can edit it.
Another question, you mentioned earlier that if someone writes a grant or starts it,
Yeah.
the grant writer changes for some reason, maybe the person moved out of town and somebody else has to take it over, as long as the person is taking it over, if it's a new grant writer, as long as he or she is qualified,
Yeah.
Is that acceptable?
Yes, absolutely.
So you can change the grant
You can change
writer.
it. And that would be a circumstance that it would be a good idea to contact me if it's locked, right? If it's not unlocked, it's still beige. If it's blue, then it's a little easier. Well, maybe you can still edit it. But if you've locked it, you can't edit it. So I can, there are ways. If you can't get in to change it, you call me and I'll unlock it for you. Okay? All right, and it's a contact us. And there's a contact us link. So you just, hit that. It'll send them an email and they will get in touch with you. Okay? So again, same references over and over and over again. These bodies of information are very valuable to you. For Canadians, I know we don't have very many Canadians here, but there is a $1.2 million fund set annually for the next 5 years for matching grants. Club contributions and DDF are matched 1-to-1. This is a windfall for Canadian clubs. TRF to match Government of Canada funds at the same rate as cash contributions. That's a bigger windfall. 5 out of 6 areas of focus with the exception of peace and conflict resolution. So the 5 areas of focus other than peace and conflict. Child and maternal health is the preferred area of focus. Eligibility restrictions include, you can't do scholarships, right? No construction of any kind, no purchase of vehicles or major medical equipment. And there is a listing of preferred countries, right? Okay, so all presidents of Canadian clubs were sent this fact sheet, an information sheet. This has nothing to do with us, right? It's all gone right to the president. It's at the club level. So what they really like to see is gender equality issues, environmental sustainability, good governance to be taken into account in all projects. Priority countries are identified. TRF Canada will forward Government of Canada funds to TRF. It's a simple process. You get approved, our government sends it right to Rotary Foundation. Rotary Foundation Canada is to initiate annual call for proposals until the funds are expended. So Government of Canada sends letter out to all the presidents. Presidents then must send a proposal, a letter of intent to this fund to see whether their proposal will be accepted.
Will that occur every year so that the new president will get that letter?
Last year it started?
Yes.
Yes, so you should be getting it this year. Yep. Okay. Global grant requirements regarding grant administration reporting and stewardship applies. And a call for proposal letter was sent to all Canadian club presidents. So it was sent last year and it will be sent every year. This is a 5-year program. It's fabulous. Okay, again, Rotary resources. Left-hand side of the page, all district links, Rotary Foundation Canada. Top banner, Government of Canada, all program information is available. So go to rotary5020.org, look on the left-hand side of the page, and where we have district links, you can click on Rotary Foundation Canada, and the top banner, you know you got the right page when you see the big banner, Government of Canada, and that's where you find out the specifics, okay? Now, questions? Yes?
I've been trying to, sitting in my Rotary right now.
Yep.
I'm trying to see the grants that are out to my club, and all I can see is district grants at my Rotary. What's going wrong here? Can I not see the status of all grants that my club has already?
I'll walk you through that after, okay? All right. Yes, Peter?
I have a comment about the memorandum of understanding. It indicated a little while ago that you should have one with each partner organization.
Yes.
But I would say that it's important to have an omnibus MOU that refers to all the partners. So say you've got a project in a country where you're teaching community members to do community gardening. You've got the Rotary Club, you've got the Agricultural College, you've got an expat who lives there that was a farmer, and you've got somebody else who was an expat who was an agricultural economist, and they're all going to play their role. If you have individual MOUs that don't reference the other ones, then the retired farmer might think that their job is to get in there and teach everybody, but in fact it's the college that's supposed to do that, and the expat's just supposed to advise the college. So if they don't all do everybody's role,
Yeah.
they could get confused.
Okay, you're referring to the global grants?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's an RI requirement. So you would have to write that into your proposal, and then RI is going to ask you questions, and they're going to be the final decision makers. We don't have that authority. For a global grant, it's RI that makes the decisions, not us. Okay, so if you can present your case well enough, Peter, there's a challenge for you. You might get it approved. And if anybody can, you can. So, but that's the bottom line. Okay, Robert. Yeah. No, they'd be Canadian dollars. Canadian dollars. It's the Government of Canada. Yeah. Everything happens in US dollars. All contributions come in right? When we write a grant for to go to TRF, and never mind Government of Canada, right? Your Rotary Club, it's your budget's in US dollars. Yeah. But with the Government of Canada monies, I believe it's Canadian dollars. Yeah. 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 Okay, David, you were next.
For the vocational training team, can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
You talked about the community assessment.
Yes.
Can that be subcontracted to people like the Water and Sanitation Rotarian Action Group? In other words, if they provide, they have boots on the ground in Papua New Guinea. John's going to back me up on some of this, and they have assessed the needs in various communities. Does the Rotarian Action Group on microcredit?
I don't have the answer to that. I don't have the answer to that. That would be, again, that would be an RI decision. They would make the final decision, not us. That would have to be part of your proposal, and they would have to make the decision on that.
Okay, and also for a district, a community grant, would the district accept subcontracting of the needs assessment to Dragon or Lost Dragon?
Well, remember, you're only dealing with a $3,500 grant. How far is that going to get you?
A lot of people in the world are really happy to see $3,500.
Well, David, that would have to be a case by case. Bob?
subcontracted to the local mayor and council.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it subcontract.
No, you're not subcontracting.
Well, except it's validated.
Yeah, validated, yeah. And where's the vote? I don't understand where the VTT component comes in, because you mentioned VTT component. Like,
Well, in the VTT slide presented by John, he mentioned the importance of the community assessment.
okay, there, gotcha. Okay, sorry. All right, Marion?
In the application for a global grant, what is the current status about an application for a motor vehicle? Has anybody applied or can you give me any feedback on that?
Bob?
That was turned down
Yeah.
because it was not a system. Rotary business system with the global grant, individual one-off thing. So, talk to her afterwards. We got a good deal, donated stuff
Yep. Any more questions? Okay, Bob?
With the emphasis on needs assessment, community needs assessment.
Yes.
Is there a vehicle for those communities out there in the world that have a need to put on like a job fair or put on a listing somewhere, say, I need help? Because
yes.
most of us are sitting here thinking we want to go help, but we don't.
Oh, yes.
We don't know the needs assessment.
Absolutely. Every January, there's Project Uniendo. PETA, do you go to that in January? I've been a couple of times in Central America. There's also project fairs in Africa. Yes, there are every year.
But is there something like that on the web as well?
Yeah. Yes, yes. So,
a lot of these grads have their own website.
yeah. So it's all there, and really for a motivator, there's nothing like attending one of these project fairs because they take you to the area that they're trying to generate interest in. So it is worth your while if you want to go on a holiday. Hi.
A question on the global grant, how they interact with each other.
Yes.
How would, from a practical point of view, if you're applying for the global grant, if you know that part of that is
Mm-hmm.
you send it both at the same time, you approve each other.
Oh, there's a tab for when you're filling it in. There's one of the questions is, does this grant include VTT? And if you check yes, then a whole Dropbox of information is entered in there. So it's all part of the one global grant, just a different component. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? No? All right. We're a little bit above. It's 20 to 3. We'll have a break. And if you'll come back by 15 minutes enough, 5 to 3, because I think you'd rather get out sooner, right? So let's have a quick break, 15 minutes, because we're